Hello! We're excited to show you our native speech capabilities. Welcome back to the English journey. Today, we are exploring a very deep topic, how to stop wasting your life and start making every second count. I'm Anna.
And I'm Abel. We often live as if we have an infinite amount of time, but the truth is that time is our most precious resource. Today, we want to help you use English to find your focus.
Yes, and we are so happy you are here with us today. This episode is very special to us because it is not just about English, it's about your life. It's about the choices you make every single day and how those choices shape the person you become.
That is a big idea, Anna. And honestly, before we started this podcast, I was not thinking about my life in this way. I was just kind of living from day to day without a real plan or a real purpose.
And that is something so many people can relate to, Abel. The word purpose is very important today. Purpose means the reason why you do something. It's your goal, your direction, your why. When you have purpose, you know where you are going. When you do not have purpose, you just drift. You move slowly with no real destination.
Like a boat on the ocean with no engine and no map.
Exactly, a perfect image. And today, we want to give you a map. We want to give you some tools and some ideas to help you make better use of your time. Because time, my friends, is something you cannot buy more of.
That is the first big point, right, Anna? Time is the one thing that is equal for every person on this planet. A rich person and a poor person both have exactly 24 hours in a day. No more, no less.
Yes, whether you are a student in a small town, a business person in a big city, or a teacher in a quiet village, you have exactly the same amount of time as everyone else today. 24 hours, 1,440 minutes.
When you say it like that, it actually sounds like a lot.
It does sound like a lot, but think about this. We sleep for about 8 hours. That leaves us with 16 hours. Then we eat, we travel, we do basic daily activities. Maybe we have 10 or 11 hours of real usable time each day. And the question is, what do we do with those hours?
And I think most people, including me a few years ago, do not really think about that question. We just wake up, we look at our phones, we scroll through social media, we watch videos, and then suddenly it's 9 o'clock at night and we wonder where the day went.
And this brings us to our next big idea, the word precious. Precious means something that is very valuable and very important. Gold is precious. A family photograph is precious. Your grandmother's ring is precious. And time, my friends, is precious. It is perhaps the most precious thing you have.
But we don't always treat it that way, do we?
No, we do not. And that's the honest truth. We sometimes treat time like it's free and unlimited, like we can waste it today and get it back tomorrow. But we can't. Every minute that passes is gone forever. You will never have this exact moment again.
Okay, that's actually a little scary when you think about it too much.
It can feel that way at first, but I don't want you to feel scared. I want you to feel motivated. There's a difference. Feeling scared makes you freeze. Feeling motivated makes you move. And today, we want to help you move.
I like that. Okay, so let's talk about distractions, because I think this is the number one enemy of a good life. And I say this as someone who has been deeply, deeply distracted for many years of my life.
Tell us more about that, Abel. I think our listeners will really connect with your experience.
Sure. So a few years ago, I had a lot of dreams. I wanted to learn a new language. I wanted to read more books. I wanted to exercise more. I wanted to start a project I had been thinking about for a long time. And every day I said to myself, I will start tomorrow. And then tomorrow came, and I would pick up my phone first thing in the morning, and I would start scrolling, just checking a few things, and then 1 hour passed, and then another, and before I knew it, half my day was gone.
And the word for this, the word for always putting things off and saying, I will do it later, is procrastination. Procrastination. Let's say it slowly together. Procrastination. It's a long word, but it's a very important one. Procrastination means you delay something. You keep pushing it to the future instead of doing it now.
And procrastination has a best friend, and that friend is distraction. Distraction is anything that pulls your attention away from what's important. For me, it was my phone, but for other people, it could be watching too much television, or spending too much time gossiping with people, or just doing small, easy tasks instead of the big, important ones.
We call those small, easy tasks busy work, and this is a very important difference I want our listeners to understand. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Let me say that again. Being busy is not the same as being productive.
What's the difference exactly, Anna? Because I used to think I was productive. I was always doing something. I was always moving around and checking things off lists.
Being busy means you are filling your time with activity. Being productive means you are filling your time with activity that actually moves you forward, that brings you closer to your goals. You can be busy all day long and make absolutely no progress. But if you spend even one focused hour on something truly important, you can change your life.
That's such a good way to explain it. I remember one week where I reorganized my desk 3 times, I replied to every email the moment it arrived, I cleaned my whole apartment, and I felt like I was doing so much. But at the end of the week, the big project I needed to finish was still sitting there, untouched.
And why do we do that? Why do we choose the easy, small tasks over the big, important ones?
I think because the big tasks feel scary, they feel hard. You don't know where to start, so you don't start at all. And cleaning your desk feels good because you can see results immediately. You feel a sense of accomplishment, even though you haven't done anything that really matters.
This is exactly right, and there's a psychological reason for this. Our brain loves short rewards. Our brain says, give me something easy that feels good right now. But growing, learning, and building something meaningful requires patience. It requires you to sit with discomfort for a while, and most people are not trained to do that.
So how do we fix it? How do we actually start doing the things that matter?
Great question. And this brings us to intentional living. The word intentional is our vocabulary word for this part. Intentional means you do things on purpose. You make a conscious choice. You decide with your mind, not just with your feelings or your habits. When you live intentionally, you ask yourself before every activity, is this helping me become the person I want to be? Is this bringing me closer to my goals or further away?
That is a powerful question, and it is kind of uncomfortable to answer honestly sometimes.
Yes, it is, because when you ask that question, you may realize that many of the things you spend your time on are not really helping you. They are just habits. They are things you do automatically without thinking. We call this living on autopilot.
Like when you get in your car and you drive to the supermarket, but you're not really thinking about driving, you just do it automatically.
Exactly. And living on autopilot in your daily life means you're not really choosing how to spend your time. You're just repeating the same patterns again and again. And if those patterns are not good ones, you will keep getting the same results.
Okay, so let's talk about practical tips because I know our listeners want some real tools they can use. What are some simple ways to overcome procrastination and start living more intentionally?
The first tip is what I call the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to do it immediately. Don't put it on a list, don't think about it, just do it right now. This keeps small tasks from piling up and stealing your mental energy later.
That is so simple, but so effective. I started doing that and it actually works.
The second tip is to start with your hardest task first. Some people call this eating the frog. The idea is that if you had to eat a live frog today, you would want to do it first thing in the morning and get it over with. Then everything else in the day would feel easy by comparison.
I love that image. Eat the frog. So basically, tackle the thing you're avoiding the most right at the start of your day, before you do anything else.
Exactly, because in the morning your energy is fresh, your mind is clear, and you have not yet been pulled in many different directions. It's the best time to do your most important work.
And the third tip?
The third tip is to remove the distractions before they tempt you. Don't rely on willpower. Willpower is very limited. Instead, make it physically harder to be distracted. Put your phone in another room when you're working. Turn off notifications. Close the social media apps. Make the environment work for you, not against you.
I can speak to this personally. When I started keeping my phone out of my bedroom at night and out of my workspace during the day, my productivity went up incredibly fast. It felt strange at first, like I was missing something. But after a few days, I realized I wasn't missing anything important. I was actually gaining something. I was gaining my focus back.
That is a beautiful thing to say, Abel, gaining your focus back. Because focus is not something you naturally have or don't have, it's a skill. And like any skill, you can practice it and improve it over time.
Okay, now I want to talk about something that I personally found very difficult to learn, and that's the power of saying no.
Oh, this is so important. The word no is one of the most powerful words in the English language, and also in your own language, whatever language you speak. Learning to say no to things that do not serve your goals is one of the greatest skills a person can develop.
But it's so hard, right? Because we want to be helpful. We want people to like us. We don't want to disappoint anyone. So we say yes to things we don't really want to do.
And then we resent it. We feel frustrated. We feel like our time is not our own. The word resent means to feel angry or unhappy about something you feel is unfair. And many people resent their schedules, resent their obligations, but they forget that they chose those obligations by saying yes when they should have said no.
Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something important. I read that somewhere once, and it really stuck with me.
That is exactly right. Your time is limited, so every choice to spend it on one thing is automatically a choice to not spend it on something else. This is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost means the opportunity you give up when you choose one thing over another.
So if I spend 2 hours watching random videos online, the opportunity cost is that I didn't spend those 2 hours practicing my English or exercising or reading a book that could change my thinking.
Perfect example. And this connects directly to why we're here on this channel, talking about learning English. Because learning a new language is one of the best investments you can make with your time. And I use the word investment very deliberately.
Tell me more about that, Anna, because some people might think learning a language takes so long, maybe it's not worth it.
An investment is something you put time, money, or energy into now, expecting a greater return in the future. When you invest money in a bank, it grows over time. When you invest time in learning a skill, that skill opens doors for you that would otherwise be open.
And English specifically opens so many doors.
It does. English is currently spoken by over 1.5 billion people in the world. It's the language of international business, of science, of travel, of technology. When you learn English, you gain access to a wider world. You can read more books, you can watch more films and understand them without subtitles. You can communicate with people from dozens of different countries.
And the amazing thing is that learning English itself teaches you many of the skills we're talking about today. It teaches you patience. It teaches you to embrace difficulty. It teaches you consistency.
Yes, consistency is another key word. Consistency means doing something regularly over a long period of time. Not perfectly, but regularly. Not for one day and then stopping, but day after day, week after week, month after month.
And this brings us to one of my favorite ideas in this whole conversation, the power of small habits. Because when I first started trying to improve my life, I thought I needed to make huge, dramatic changes. I thought I needed to wake up at 5 in the morning, exercise for 2 hours, meditate for an hour, study for 3 hours, eat only vegetables, and I would try all of that on day 1, and then by day 3, I would be exhausted and I would give up.
Many people do this. They go from 0 to 100 very quickly, and then they crash, and then they feel like a failure, and they stop trying altogether. But the secret to lasting change is not big, dramatic actions. It is small, consistent habits.
Like just 15 minutes a day.
Yes, 15 minutes a day of intentional growth. Let us think about what 15 minutes a day can do over the course of 1 year. 15 minutes of English practice every day for 365 days. That is about 91 hours of practice in 1 year. 91 hours of focused, intentional English learning. Imagine how much progress you could make.
That is incredible when you put it that way. It doesn't feel like a lot when you're doing it each day, just 15 minutes, but over a year, it adds up to something enormous.
There's a concept called the compound effect. It means that small actions, repeated consistently over time, produce results that are much bigger than you would expect. It's like compound interest in a bank account. A small amount of money left in an account with good interest grows and grows and grows. And the longer you leave it, the faster it grows.
And the same is true for skills. The better your English gets, the faster you improve, because you understand more so you can consume more material. You can read harder books, you can watch more complex videos, you can have longer and deeper conversations.
And on the other side, there's also a negative compound effect. If every day you choose distraction over growth, those lost days also compound. Months go by, years go by, and you look back and you feel what we call regret. Regret is the painful feeling you get when you think about something you wish you had done differently.
Regret is such a heavy word. I felt it before, looking back at years where I had so much potential, but I didn't use it, thinking, what could my life look like right now if I had started learning or building or growing 5 years ago?
And the good news is that today, right now, this very moment, is the earliest possible time to start. You cannot go back, but you can move forward. And the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today.
I love that saying. Let's say it one more time for our listeners. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
And let's be honest about something else too. The journey will not always be smooth. There will be days when you don't feel like studying. There will be days when you feel tired, frustrated, unmotivated. There will be days when you scroll too much and sleep too late and feel like you have wasted the day.
And those days will happen for everyone.
Yes, for everyone. The difference between people who grow and people who do not is not that one group never has bad days. It's that the growing group doesn't let one bad day turn into 1 week, and 1 week turn into 1 month. They restart, they forgive themselves, and they begin again.
Forgiveness is actually a really important part of growth that we don't talk about enough. Forgiving yourself when you fail. Not using your past failures as an excuse to stop trying, but using them as information, as lessons.
Beautiful. And this is related to the idea of having a growth mindset. A growth mindset means you believe that your abilities are not fixed. You believe that you can improve, that intelligence, skill, and even character can grow with effort and time.
Versus a fixed mindset where you think, this is who I am. I cannot change. I'm just not a language learner. I'm just not a disciplined person.
Exactly. And that fixed way of thinking is perhaps one of the biggest ways people waste their lives. Not through laziness, not through distraction, but through the belief that they are not capable of being more.
So if you're listening right now and you've ever thought, I'm not good at English, or I'm too old to learn, or I'm not smart enough, I want you to hear this clearly. Those thoughts are not facts. They're just old stories you've been telling yourself, and you can change the story.
You can absolutely change the story, and you're already changing it by being here, by choosing to spend your time on something that grows you. That is not a small thing. That is a significant choice.
And I also want to address one more thing. The idea that you have to wait until conditions are perfect before you start something. Do you know how many people are waiting for the right moment to begin?
So many. I'll start when I have more time. I'll begin when the kids are older. I'll try when work is less busy. I'll begin learning English after I move to a new city. But the perfect moment never comes. It never arrives because life is always happening and it's always complicated and it's never perfectly quiet.
The conditions you're waiting for don't exist. The only moment you have is this one, this imperfect, busy, complicated moment. And if you can't begin now, you won't begin then either.
There's a word for the people who always wait for perfect conditions. They're sometimes called perfectionists. And while having high standards is good, perfectionism that stops you from starting is actually a form of procrastination in disguise.
Because I'm waiting for the right moment really means I'm scared to try and fail.
Yes, and failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every person who is fluent in a second language failed many, many times. They mispronounced words, they used wrong grammar, they felt embarrassed in conversations, but they kept going. And that persistence, that decision to keep going despite failure, is what made them fluent.
And this brings me to the idea of prioritizing. To prioritize something means to decide that it's the most important thing and to give it your best time and best energy. What do you prioritize in your life right now?
Think about that question seriously. Not what you say you prioritize, not what you wish you prioritized, but what your daily actions show you actually prioritize. Because your actions are the truth, not your words, not your intentions, but your actions.
If you spend 4 hours a day on social media and 10 minutes on learning, then your actions show that social media is more important to you than learning. Even if you say, "Oh, English is so important to me," the time doesn't lie.
And this is not about judgment. This is not about making anyone feel bad. This is about clarity. Clarity means seeing things very clearly, without confusion. When you see clearly how you're spending your time, you can make a clear choice to change it.
And the beautiful thing about this is that change doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to delete all your social media forever. You don't have to never watch a movie again. Balance is important. Rest is important. Fun is important.
Absolutely. Life is not meant to be all work and no play. We are not machines. We need rest, we need joy, we need connection. The goal is not to fill every single minute with productive activity. The goal is to be intentional, to choose rest when you need rest, to choose fun when you need fun, but to also protect time for growth, for learning, for building your future.
And the people who do this well, the people who manage their time with intention and purpose, often feel more alive, more satisfied, more fulfilled, because they know that they are not just passing through life, they are building something.
The word for what you leave behind is legacy. Legacy means the impact you have on the world, the things people remember about you after you are gone. And your legacy is built day by day, habit by habit, choice by choice.
Even learning English is part of a legacy, because when you learn English, you can connect with more people, you can share more ideas, you can help more people. You become a bigger, more capable version of yourself.
And that bigger version of yourself helps your family, your community, your country. Growth is never just personal. It always ripples out into the world around you.
I love that image. Growth ripples out, like when you throw a stone into still water and the circles spread out in every direction.
Yes. And so every time you choose growth over distraction, every time you sit down and study English for 15 minutes instead of scrolling, you are throwing a stone into the water. And you may not see the ripples right away, but they are there and they are spreading.
Okay, I think we're getting close to the end of our conversation today. But before we go, I want to make sure we give our listeners one clear message to take with them.
I have been thinking about this, and my message is this. You already know what you should be doing. Somewhere inside you, you know. You know which habits are helping you and which ones are hurting you. You know which activities are building your future and which ones are stealing your time. You do not need more information. You need more courage, the courage to begin.
And I would add this, do not think about the whole journey. The whole journey can feel overwhelming. Just think about today. Just think about this one day. What is one small thing you can do today that your future self will thank you for?
Maybe it is studying English for 15 minutes. Maybe it is turning off your phone for 1 hour. Maybe it is saying no to a commitment that is not serving you. Maybe it is writing down your goals for the first time. Maybe it is simply deciding right now in this moment that you matter, that your time matters, that your dreams are worth fighting for.
And if you've been listening to this episode in English, congratulations. You have already done something today. You have already chosen growth. You have already invested in yourself. And that's not nothing. That's everything.
Every journey begins with a single step, and you have already taken that step today. So now take another one tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Not because you have to, but because you choose to, because you have decided that your life is too precious to waste.
And that's the whole message, is it not? Your life is too precious to waste. Say that with us. My life is too precious to waste.
My time is valuable, my dreams are real, and I can start today.
Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things calm down or when conditions are better. Today, this moment, right now.
Because this moment is all we ever truly have, and it's enough. It's more than enough. Use it well.
Thank you so much for listening to The English Journey. We genuinely hope that this episode gave you something valuable, not just some English practice, but some real motivation to take your life seriously and make it count.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with a friend, a family member, a classmate, because sometimes the best gift you can give someone is a reminder of their own potential.
And leave us a comment. Tell us what one thing from today's episode you are going to do differently starting today. We read every comment and we love hearing from you.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep choosing your future over your comfort zone. We believe in you. See you in the next episode of The English Journey.
Bye for now, everyone. Go make today count.